greatest and last Thursday night prediction show from Last Bowl Boxing of 2024. And actually, Cole, it's the last one we're going to be doing for a while. We're going to be changing things up on the show, doing a bit more shorter content. Still be putting lots of content out, but we won't be doing the live show for a while. So this one's going to be the last one. And, boys, we've picked a very good one to finish on. Massive card from Saudi Arabia. Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk 2. Press conference has just gone off. And, lads, I don't think I've ever seen a longer stare down in a massive headlining fight like we saw just. It got a bit uncomfortable at times. Carl, I'll come to you first. What were your thoughts of it?
Yeah, it's a bit boring after about 2 or 3 minutes, to be honest. I just think they're both in the zone in a different ways. I think Usyk's almost a little bit more friendlier this time, whereas Fury just looks like he's ready to go. I think this is the best version of Fury. So if this version don't beat Usyk, none will. He looks lean, don't he? He looks like he's just ready to go, Andy, to be honest. No, it's no more talking. Get in the ring on Saturday night and let his fist go.
Brett, we've seen definitely seen a much more somber Tyson Fury this time round. Do you think that's down to, and I don't want to use this word, but I can't think of another word to use. Do you think he's slightly more humble after his first loss of his career? Because his demeanour is completely different.
It could be that, mate. It could be the being humble about, whenever they take their first loss, they have to go back to the drawing board. They have to look at themselves in the mirror. But if we are to believe the Fury kind of quote of "I'm a fighting man," maybe he's gone back to the drawing board and said, "All right, I am a fighting man. I want to avenge this. So I'm going to fully focus on this. I'm going to do things differently." We'll see. We're very close to finding out whether that's going to be a factor. But whenever there's a Fury fight week, whenever there's an AJ fight week, we all try and analyze their body language and what they've done different. And is this the new version of them? I am liking what I'm seeing. I didn't see him crack at the press conference. I know we were just talking about it off air, but I am liking what I'm seeing. So, yeah.
Sean, have you seen much of this build-up this week?
No, I haven't seen any of the press conference. I've not been in from work, unfortunately.
Okay, but you've seen that Tyson Fury's changed. He's not the jolly Tyson Fury, the Dosser Tyson Fury, Rabbit Tyson Fury. There's been very few words. It's been every time anybody's asked him anything, it's always been, "I'm here to do a job." There's none of the normal bull, comments that you might normally get to try and get under a fighter's skin. I think he knows he can't do that with Usyk. What's your first thoughts before we start talking about predictions in how the fight will go?
Yeah, I think I see it the other way, to be honest. I mean, it almost looks like he's had a bit of some sort of breakdown, I think. I mean, I don't think it looked good at all from him, to be honest. I'm a bit worried, sort of, his persona, how he's going into the fight. I think he could have gone too far the other way, if that kind of makes sense.
Interesting, Darren, what Sean says there. You can see this two different ways. Looks to me like Tyson is totally focused, though.
Yeah, well, when I started watching the press conference and I saw Tyson speaking, even though he was pretty much straight to the point, he looked rather calm, saying it. He looked rather composed, and I thought, I like this Tyson Fury. I like it. He seems locked in. There's no joking and larking around like we've seen before, and I thought, great. They then done the longest head-to-head we've ever had of about 15 minutes long, I think it was. Then Usyk, I think both of them, each of them was waiting for the other to crack. And for me, Tyson Fury cracked. He was the one that started calling Usyk everything under the sun. He's smashing the rabbit to pieces. He's going to do this. He was saying all sorts of swear words, and Usyk just stood there pretty calm, really. But Tyson, once again, I think he done his best to stay how he was early on in the press conference, but he cracked at the end for me. He was the one doing all the animation and the screaming and the shouting, whereas I thought early on when we saw the press conference, he looks to have his head together here, but he lost it at the end again today.
Taz, I don't know if you've just seen that face-off in the press conference.
Yes, mate, I've seen it.
So, Tyson, by all accounts, if you want to believe everything that's being said, he's gone back to the drawing board. He's gone back to old school. He hasn't talked to his missus for 3 months. He's been completely focused. Way he's been acting in is like that's exactly what he's doing, because there's none of that normal bravado. Do you think it is just that, a front? And is he done that to try and get under Usyk's skin, because it clearly hasn't worked?
Well, to me, if he's tried to get under Usyk's skin after last time, that's just a silly move to try and do. He should have learned from first fight. I made a prediction that I think Usyk's going to win. Mate, after that today, I'm absolutely cemented. Usyk's got him. Usyk's got him.
You think all this from Tyson then is just a front? You think?
Mate, I think all the calmness and the talk. I mean, after the public workout when he would just go in pain, destruction, and all that. Mate, come on, poor man's club along. Do you know what I mean? It's all didn't need to be saying things. Say not wrong things to me as a fighter. He's under pressure. He's stood in front of a man who's, nearly half his size, and who beat him last time, nearly stopped him. Do you know what I mean? Other refs would have stopped that. Listen, let's not forget Tyson's got a load of factors going into this. Tyson, for me, and I was one of them as well, I didn't think there was any way Usyk could hurt him. He got up off from Wilder. So he's going to be the same. He wouldn't have expected that. To be fair, I think what he was saying to Usyk were a bit out of order, some of the things he were calling him. And Usyk just stood there and went, I'm not going to leave you alone. Don't be scared. I'm not going to leave you alone. Listen, the man's just the ultimate professional. Do you know what I mean? Seen it, done it, bought T-shirt. But this has cemented me. I think Usyk's got him. I really do. I think he's got him. And as much as what I think Fury might have a couple of good spells, I can't say. I think Usyk's in his head, and he's got him.
Well, I'll stick with you, Daz. I'll stay with you. Give me a prediction of how you think the fight pans out.
Mate, I think Usyk is gonna win clearer than he did last time. I think I'm hesitant to say he's going to stop Fury, but mate, listen, he might well do. If you're forcing me to pick one outcome, I'm gonna have to say that Usyk unanimous decision.
Okay. 1 second, Darren comments in the sidebar. Jack Gladman, welcome, Jack. He's put Usyk's mindset looks a bit off to me. Looks like something's been on his mind all week. They see he said completely opposite to you, Daz.
That's because Jack smokes crack.
Allegedly.
Also, welcome to the show, Joe Hughes. Joe Hughes, tell Daz I said he talks bollocks.
Is that Mr. Underwood Hughes? Is it?
I think it would. Yeah.
Yes, Joe. You all right, pal?
Joe, if you fancy jumping on me, Carl will drop the link in the sidebar for you. You can come on screen if you like, mate. Give your prediction. Darren, you've heard what Daz has just said there. Do you believe the same thing? I saw you smiling when I was saying about Tyson's mindset.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I've said this to a lot of people all week. I just think that I don't think anybody can be. Well, Daz sounds like he is, but I was going to say I don't think anybody could be 100% confident in their prediction for this fight, because I think it's just that type of fight. But Daz's mind's made up now. He's cemented his prediction. I've been looking at all sorts of scenarios, and people saying, "Oh, Tyson Fury, the bigger man. I think this is a knockout this time. I think Fury stops him." I don't get how people can say that based on the first fight, because if anyone was winning the first fight by stoppage, it was Usyk. I just think Usyk's that guy. I just think he's the guy who has got a plan A, B, and C. If he's up against it, if he has a bad round, he comes out next round. He puts that bad round behind him. He wins the next round. He just seems to be that guy with all the skills. He can adapt his game plan throughout the fight. He goes back to his corner. He kisses things like the cross, and I don't know. He's just a phenomenal guy, and he just seems a born winner in life to me. And I just think he has that slight edge over Tyson Fury. So I don't particularly think we'll see a knockout in the fight, even though Fury's saying what he's saying at the press conference tonight. My prediction, but like I say, I'm not mega confident on it. I would edge towards a Usyk points win.
It seems everybody on that panel today, they were all pushing for this Tyson Fury is going to win by stoppage. You got the best promoters in the business up there, all saying Tyson's going to win. One of them saying Tyson's one of the best heavyweights of all time. I think they're trying to get the country behind Tyson here.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say he's one of the best heavyweights of all time. I think he's been in a pretty pure era for heavyweight boxing, to be honest. So I wouldn't go that far. As far as the fight, I actually will stick my neck out on the line here. I think Usyk will stop him. And I especially think that if Fury's going to adapt the Wilder 2 tactics and try and bully him and walk him down, I just think Usyk's footwork and boxing skills are too good. And I think he'll have the ability to outmaneuver Fury and sort of suck all the energy out of him. And I can see Usyk stopping him around 9-10.
Right, okay. I'll come to you, Brett. Let's say your breakdown. How do you think the fight pans out?
I'm going to get smashed to bits for this. Part of me thinks it's because I give Fury so much shit. I'm protecting myself for Saturday night when Usyk probably stops him. But I just, it's reading the body language. I might have got it wrong. I know that other people are seeing it differently. I think the powers that, if it's close fight, the powers that be, forget this AI generated thing, but the powers that be are going to want to see that mega fight between Fury and AJ. Regardless, it's not glamorous to see Usyk and Fury 3 versus, unless it's a classic, versus the build up for the AJ fight. So I think if it's close, not that it's going to be corrupt, I'm not saying that, but if it's going to be close and it's close rounds, then I think Fury will get the nod. I do think though he was landing with that uppercut. He's gonna go back to drawing board. He knows that. We know about the body work that he can be caught to the body. The thing where my mind is at though, what you just said there about if it's Fury 2 tactics, Wilder 2 tactics, that might see him get knocked out. That might, because if he runs in and he might not get knocked Spark out, but he'll drop him and then he'll finish him because he could walk in, and because Usyk is so intelligent. But I'm going to stick my neck out on the line. I'm going to say that it's not going to be. I'm not putting a mortgage on it or anything, but I'm going to say that Fury gets a decision, whether that's a split decision, he gets a decision. But I could quite easily see what I just said there. He could walk on something, but I'll stick my neck out on the line and say Fury gets a decision.
Mr. Joe Underwood Hughes, welcome to the show, pal.
Evening, all. How are we doing? Thanks for having us
Before
on.
I get your prediction, I need to talk about that poster in the background there, mate.
Scarface.
That's absolute genius. That.
I've had this since I was about 12 years old. And
fantastic, right?
And then we've got a Billy Joe Saunders signed glove here as well.
So. Oh, nice one.
Another gypsy boy.
So, you're flying at the minute, mate. Obviously, I've got your last interview on the channel. That's doing really good numbers. Thanks very much for that.
You're welcome.
Let's hear what you've got to say about this fight, mate.
I'm just excited for it, to be honest. Just as a general boxing fan, it's been exciting. One thing I'll say, I feel like they've switched roles a little bit, Usyk and Fury. If I don't know if before I thought Usyk, I thought he'll do the same, do a job on him, probably even stop him this time. But then this week, when I've been watching the fight week stuff, I feel like kind of switched roles from the first fight. Like Tyson seems more focused, more like robotic. Do you know what I mean? Like he's just locked in. He's gone to like Russia and just focused and done nothing but train. And Usyk seems like a little bit arrogant, a little bit cocky, and like it's a guaranteed that he's already won the fight on Saturday. So I feel like the switch rolls a little bit, and I'm just excited now.
What's your prediction?
Fury stoppage. That's what I think.
Really?
I think so. Yeah. Body work. I think he's going to invest in the body a lot more than he did last time, and I could probably see a stoppage from him. Maybe a little bit controversial, but that's what I think.
Take on Tyson's demeanor this time around.
Seems ice cold to me. Seems like someone's thrown him in a prison cell and just gone, right, come to training, chucked him back in the cell. Come training, chucked him back in the cell. Do you know what I mean? He just seems, to me, he's focused.
Daz, you're not buying that, are you?
I were until he flipped his lid.
What, today? On the yeah. I think that's the only time I've seen him lose control a little bit.
Like I said, I were quite happy with what I was seeing from him. Even on his public workout when he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He looked, even though I didn't sort of like that, like I said, I think it was a bit of a cheap Clubber Lang impression, but it was still, there. I sort of took from it that he didn't want to do all media stuff. He's had enough. It was time to fight. But then when he's flipped his lid today a little bit, I thought it was sort of what he were doing last time, weren't it?
Yeah, I think last time he did that regularly though, didn't he? He lost his rag a little bit with Usyk. But I think that comes down to that again, that ice cold in his veins from Usyk, doesn't it? I think that winds Fury up a little bit.
Yeah.
When you're trying to antagonize someone, wind them up, and
he's got a face, hasn't he? Usyk, when he's smiling at you, you probably want to punch it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I agree on. I'll give you that. I do agree on that.
Okay, quick round robin then. Last final predictions off you boys before we move on to the undercard. Brett, start with you.
Fury split decision.
Sean?
Usyk stoppage.
Darren?
Usyk decision.
Daz Metcalf?
Usyk points.
Joe, what are you saying?
Fury stoppage.
Right, there's a right mix there, isn't there?
Everyone's an Usyk.
Fury stoppage. We've got Fury points. We've got Usyk points. We've got Usyk stoppage. I'm edging Usyk. I'm like Joe. I've liked Fury's demeanor all week up until what just happened, because all of a sudden I just got this. He started fidgeting in the face-off after about 6 minutes, and it's as though something's flipped in his head, and he went, "I'm not getting anywhere with him here. I'm not getting any reaction from him." I feel like Tyson thought to himself, "I don't know what else I can do here other than lose my rag," because clearly neither of them wanted to look away, did they? Something had to happen for it to end, and everyone around him were getting a bit nervous. Jack Gladman in the sidebar is saying Fury knockout in round 10. Interesting, boys.
Do you know what though? To me, if I were Fury's team, I think it'd be better to lose your cool today than Saturday.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? So maybe he's had that little outburst, and maybe Sugar Hill will say, "Listen, we're not doing that. Don't do that." You know what I mean? So it's better to lose your cool, I suppose, today than it is on Saturday.
One more question.
I think before he give it some as well, before he gives some lip, when it was like kind of once everyone got involved, he lost his rag a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like before that, he seemed all right, and then when everyone started pushing and shoving a bit,
you'll know better than anyone, Joe. In situations like that, you know, these little minions that are knocking around, they want that to happen.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? They want this like foul mouth tirade. They want that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Everyone.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Especially, like you say, people, even more so people on the other side of the fence, the Usyk fans and people on his side, if they can crack Fury's armor, you know what I mean, by winding him up, it helps their man, doesn't it?
definitely, definitely.
Just one more question on this before we move on to Joe. Mindset of a boxer. When a fighter, and if a fighter gets that first loss, and they go straight into an automatic rematch against the same fighter, is the automatic feeling I've got to change everything, I've got to fight the fight differently, or with this first fight being as close as it was, does Tyson do the same thing but slightly better?
I think that's what it comes down to. It's how you lose, isn't it? You have a back and forth fight, and you won rounds, you lost rounds. Why should you change something? You just got to be better, aren't you? You've got to be a better version of yourself. If you got absolutely dominated and then smashed, yeah, you go, right, well, I did all of this wrong. I need to change a lot. So I think it comes down to how you lose the fight. But for me, it's always going to be your mindset, how you go into that fight. Like he's just got to change his mindset and focus on not clowning around. I think we all saw him clown around a little bit on the first fight. He can't use it as an excuse as to why he lost, because I don't think that is why he lost. I think maybe the lapse in concentration every now and again threw him away around here and there. But no, he was good, wasn't he? He was class until he got caught with that punch. That's what changed the fight for me. When his nose went the first time.
Smashed his nose, Joe, didn't it?
Yeah, when his nose went, that's what changed the fight for me. So I think he's just got to stay focused and keep doing what he did the first time, just a little bit better, and that's it. But yeah, I think losing as well. I think losing a fight drives a fighter so much. Like, well, it's either going to do one of two things. It's either going to crumble them, and they're not going to come back, and they probably won't rematch them. Or he's going to be so driven and so motivated to avenge that loss that he's just worked his arse off so much more than usual. He's more focused and he just wants to get that win back. I know that's how I am as a fighter, so that's my opinion.
From third up, from fourth till nine, up until ninth.
Yeah.
I mean, he was walking him onto some beautiful shots and wobbled Usyk.
Yeah, he was close to having him out of there at a few points. He was hurt to the body.
There's a massive misconception though, and all. And Joe will tell you, if you've been boxing a long time and you've had 20 odd professional fights, whatever, people think that a smack up nose and that breaks your nose don't hurt anymore. I don't think no matter how many smacks that you have your nose smashed and it hurts, Joe, doesn't it? You know what I mean? I
was training earlier and I was saying it to one of my teammates in the gym. When I was young and I was like boxing, I used to say to myself and say to people, I don't mind getting it. And that's when I was boxing 3-rounders and 4-rounders. I don't mind getting it. It's all right. Like, get 1 or 2 on the chops and wakes me up. Do you know, after boxing 10 rounders against top kids, I think I absolutely hate being punched. I don't want to be it ever again, but I do. I love it for some reason.
Right, moving on to the undercard, boys. We'll skirt through these pretty quickly. First one we'll go with is Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen. Dave Allen looks like he's taking this really seriously. He's got himself, by the looks of it, into pretty good shape. Maybe the best shape of his career for quite some time. Daz, I'll come to you first, mate.
Well, you might.
I know you've got strong opinions of both fighters, so let's hear it.
Mate, does Dave Allen take anything serious? I mean, he sort of winds me up a little bit, Dave, to be fair, because I think he was quite a talented kid. At one point, mate, honestly, I think he got, even though he got put in limelight a little bit when he was Eddie Hearn's first choice, I think there's no two ways about it. He were used as a punch bag for Eddie Hearn's fighters. You know, obviously did a lot of sparring, sparred Fury, he sparred everybody. By all accounts, you know, them spars in Fury camp were absolutely brutal. Johnny Fisher, you know, Johnny Fisher seems to be improving every time we see him. I think we've said on this show as well that Eddie Hearn probably thinks Johnny's a little bit better than he gave him credit for.
Yeah.
Sells a lot of tickets as well. You know, sells just insane amount.
He was definitely originally Johnny was definitely brought in because he was a big ticket seller.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of talk about what's Dave got left and all this. I don't think he's got a lot, to be fair. I really don't. I think he's not really had a lot for a few fights. I can see Johnny Fisher just coming out and steamrolling him, if I'm honest. But then again, a lot of pressure on Johnny Fisher. He's expected to steamroll Dave. If he doesn't, then people are going to be saying, "Oh well, you know, Johnny's not as good as what we thought he was going to be," etc., etc. But I think Johnny's going to come out, and I think he's going to steamroll him basically.
Darren, Johnny Fisher has done interviews this week, and I'm not saying that he's taken his mind off of this fight, but he's been talking about Moses Itauma, he's been talking about David Adelaide, one of them fights next. Is he overlooking Dave Allen here?
I don't think so. I mean, obviously it's in his mind that, you know, the fights that are coming ahead, but I don't think he's overlooking Dave Allen. I think you can tell from the presser tonight that he's talking, you know, very respectful, and he realises Dave Allen is a challenger. And I mean, I've got to agree with Daz on this. I don't think Dave Allen's had a lot left for a while now. I mean, the Fraser Clark showing was pretty abysmal. I mean, he's had 2 4-rounders since then and won on points against really limited opposition, and then he's landed a big payday on a Saudi card, so fair play to him. But I expect Johnny Fisher I expect it to be a fairly one-sided fight, but I do think that Dave Allen probably is the guy that can take a fair whack of punishment here again and probably drag it towards maybe the latter rounds of the fight, and maybe he'll get stopped late. Maybe Johnny Fisher will win on points. But I mean, the telltale sign for me is Dave Allen, in one of the interviews I saw the other day, he said, "We're going to find out here what I've got left." That's not really the sort of positive thinking I think you should have for going into this fight, really. You know, sort of like, it's a 50-50 chance. Let's see what I got left. I don't know. Like, it's just not what I think you should be expected to be saying, really. So Johnny Fisher will win for me, either a UD, comfortable, or take Dave Allen out late where he's probably absorbing a lot of punishment.
And sorry, mate, I've got to look at this comment in the sidebar. I don't know what Jack Gladman's drinking, Kool-Aid or something. Dave Allen, first round KO. Johnny Fisher gets caught cold.
No, not happening. Just don't. If it does happen, just don't replay it back.
Like Daz said before, Jack's been smoking crack, hasn't he?
Hey, honestly, ever such a nice kid, Jack. But
I mean,
Brett,
he needs to spell first as well.
Cider.
Good stuff.
Very
Good stuff.
strong side. Is that stuff from down Devon and Dorset, isn't it?
Do you know, before you move on though, also put, even if Fisher wins, avoid Itauma like the plague. Listen, fighters shouldn't be avoiding each other like that. You know what I mean? Shouldn't be avoiding each other. Listen, if Fisher wins, I mean, I don't know, Johnny, but he's going to want to get in. Do you know what I mean? They don't.
somebody on this panel tonight that don't avoid it. He's been in with the best.
Well, you know, I were all right when I was boxing. I weren't bad. Oh, you're on about Joe? Sorry.
Mate, I'm just an old school fighter. I think that's what we get in the sport for, innit? We get
throwback Joe, aren't you?
I didn't have an amateur fight, so like I don't get why people would be scared of fighting other fighters. That's what we're doing. It's our job.
Listen, look at them days when we were in Scott's gym way back when.
I'm still in there, mate. I'm still in there.
And you were, you were sparring kids who were like 2-3 stone heavier than you.
Yeah, mate. I from where I started, I used to get smashed about, and now I'm the one doing a bit of smashing about. But yeah, get in with who you can, test yourself, and enjoy the sport. That's what we're in it for.
Brett, Johnny Fisher's 12-0, Southern Area champion, is let off the leash.
I think this is a good fight for him to do that though, because Dave Allen's tough. And it's like Daz said, when does he ever take it serious? He looks calm in the build-up. He's always been good on. I think he owes Eddie a lot of respect because he's probably the luckiest man alive to have had the profile that he's got in terms of what he's delivered versus the cards that he's been on. And this is a nice little payday for him. But the reality is I don't at this stage know how good Fisher is yet either. He's heavy hitting, and he ran through Babic, but Babic was Babic. What I believe here is he is going to try and take him out early, and we'll see what Dave Allen can take in terms of punishment, how fit he is to recover. So the only thing I'll say though, if he does get past the first 4 rounds, Dave Allen is ring Q and all the sparring that we've talked about, and all the people that he's been in with, and the cannon fodder he's been over the years. Does he have a little bit of smarts to drag him late? I'm not saying he's going to do anything, but does he take this into the late waters? Because I think everybody would probably turn around and say that it's going to be an early KO for Fisher. But if Dave Allen gets through those early rounds, can he take him late? Still believe Fisher's going to win. I think it's going to be late. I think Dave Allen's just going to take too much punishment late on. But it's a good test for him, and I would like to see. I agree with what Daz and Joe were saying. But get these younguns fighting each other. Like if he gets through this, set him up on another beautiful Saudi card for Moses and him to go at it. So let's see.
Sean, very interesting that what we've just heard from Brett. If Johnny's known for knocking people out early, he gets in there, swinging. No one's really taking him any distance. It's going to be interesting to see what happens if he does get dragged late, isn't it?
Yeah, one thing that I think is a bit of an interesting subplot about this as well. I mean, and I'm sure he's took people over there, but ordinarily he has the big sort of following from Essex that go there for more of a social experience, shall we say? And with that not being over there in Saudi, I just wonder if that could have affected him really, not necessarily in a negative way, but will he have the same sort of wherewithal and sort of people edging on to sort of be the explosive fighter he is? Because I think a lot of the time his performances are driven by his fans sort of cheering him on. So I think that's a bit of a subplot in the fight. As for the fight, I agree. I think Fisher should come through with flying colours. If he doesn't, then there's questions to be asked to see what level he is at.
Welcome the Saudi drinker to the show. How are you, Jack?
I'm all right. Clearly, I was joking about the Fisher one.
No, behave.
But the other one I wasn't joking. The Fury stuff I wasn't joking about, but the Fisher thing, yeah. I mean, if it does happen, I wish I put a tenner on it, but I highly doubt that's actually going to happen.
Backtracking faster than Muhammad Ali, mate. You.
No, because I just said it to see what Daz's reaction would be. To be fair, I wanted to get a reaction out of you, and it did work.
Go on then, Jack. While you're talking, mate, let's have it from you. How's it go?
To be honest, I think 4 or 5 rounds, realistically, Fisher's just going to beat him up and stop him, isn't he? I mean, if Dave can make it through 10, fair play to him. But who was it who said it earlier that said the concerning thing is Dave is saying, let's see what I've got left. Why is a fighter saying, let's see what I've got left? That's a bit worrying when you're in a massive fight.
Yeah.
On a massive card. I mean, by the way, the Itauma comment was just because he's literally boxing Dempsey McKean, who's a world-ranked fighter and very good. I just... Johnny's boxed... I wouldn't even say Dave Allen's British level anymore. He probably was at his best. And Dempsey McKean's probably a world level fighter, so I think there's a bit of a golfing class there, and I don't want to mismatch.
Mate, I'm not overly excited about Dempsey McKean. He's a good fighter, and he's a level above what Moses has fought. But if you strip back Moses, mate, he's not fought anybody. He's not been punched on chin yet.
Just before we go on to that,
I rate McKean.
Jumping the gun here, lads. Just before we go on to that, I ain't got Joe's prediction on the Dave Allen fight. We'll come on to Moses 1 second. Go for it, Joe.
I think it's like everyone said. How much has Dave Allen got left? I think it's weird with him. He could be knocked out in a round, or he could be as he's once was known as, he could be the toughest man in boxing and just tough it out for all the rounds. But I'm not really going to talk too much on it. Quick prediction: Johnny Fisher smashes him to pieces and gets him out of there. Maybe you might see a Dave Allen be all right to start off with because of the changing trainer. He says he's trained hard and he's in great shape for it. Jamie Moore obviously trained my recent enemy, Mr. Cameron Vong, but yeah, he's a great trainer, isn't he, Jamie Moore? And I don't think he's the type of he don't strike me as the type of trainer that's going to allow Dave Allen to clown around and not take a fight seriously if he's putting his name to that fighter. Neither does Nigel Travis. So I think with those two training him, he should be bang up for it. And if he's not, then the pair of them are as bad as him cashing in. But we'll see, won't we?
We will indeed. Carl in the sidebar saying Dave Allen don't see the 6th round. Welcome Warlock Boxing and welcome Robert Brown. Robert Brown has come out with a comment saying, oh, there we go. Carl's put it on screen. Turkey wants to be the 4th judge. Want Fury to win. Smell corruption with Frank Warren. Interesting take. Right, Daz, pick up where you were just talking about Moses Itauma, please.
Yeah, listen, I'm a fan of Moses, but you know you got to be realistic. You know he's doing everything right at the minute, but he's not been punched on chin. You know, I mean Marius Vac. Listen, yeah, still a bit of a name, but I mean he came with no ambition whatsoever.
Yeah.
Dempsey McKean, decent fighter, step up, yeah. Hardly a world beater for me, Dempsey McKean. Hardly a world beater, but you know, a bit of clever match. He's still a step up, so a bit of clever matchmaking. We're only going to see what Moses is about when someone cracks him on chin. You know, someone wants to beat him, wants to, give him a tough time with someone else who's got ambition. I think that he may pass these tests with flying colours, but we can't be saying he's the next, great heavyweight of his generation until we see him, with these tests. I don't personally think anyone would really be wanting to avoid him. Fighters are fighters. They don't want to avoid people. I mean, he's got a bit of a target on him as well, Moses, because if whoever fights him beats him, then they've sort of set themselves. But yeah, listen, I'm not hating on Moses Itauma because I like the kid and he looks looks like he is going to make some noise. But I'm not gonna say he's the best thing since sliced bread until he's had these tests, until he's been hit on the chin, till he's even probably lost a round. I mean, he's not even lost a round yet as a pro.
You've only got to look at like Jared Anderson. Look at him.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolute. Everyone were blowing smoke up his backside. Gets him with Bacoli and he walks through him. Like, it's the same situation, really. And I'd say before that, you'd have thought probably Jared Anderson was probably better than Moses, arguably. And yeah, so.
I mean, the thing with the Dempsey McKean thing, I mean, Joe Pataya uses him as chief sparring partner when he's fighting guys bigger than him, so he can't be that bad because we all know how good Jai is. I know he's a cruiserweight, but I'm just saying.
Danny Williams used me as a sparring partner, but that doesn't mean I'm world class.
Philip Hrgovic stopped him, and Hrgovic ain't exactly a puncher, is he?
No.
I suppose there is that, but
he's a step up for me. He's a step up from what Moses has fought, but he's nowhere near.
I think there's people out there that he would in the top 15 of certain governing bodies. We all know which one I'm talking about. He would be.
We can all get a ranking in them. I mean, Usyk used Dave Allen as a sparring partner.
Oh yeah, true.
I mean, that's what caused Dave to retire last time when he got wobbled. I think he sort of thought, oh yeah, all right, this isn't great. But on to Moses. He's doing all the right things from where he's at. As soon as we get an heavyweight as in England, we're all over it. You know what I mean? We love it, and everybody does. I love it. I love to have a good heavyweight, but I don't want to set myself up for disappointment. Whereas first time he faces someone almost as good as him, and he gets chinned. If he gets chinned, then we're like, oh, here we go again. Let's all not put pressure on him either.
But then who are we? Right.
As ice cool as he is, Jack, as calm as he comes across and everything else, the lad's got immense pressure on him.
Take out the top maybe 4, because take out the top 4 universally heavyweights, right? Who are we going to put him in with if he comes through McKean, that's a bigger test?
I'll tell you one right now. Easy. Great fight, and it's a test. Fabio Wardley.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
Okay, yeah.
Fabio Wardley,
I'll give you.
Do you think Fabio Wardley'd not spark him out?
No, that one I'll give you would actually be the fight. Okay, fair.
But I think that's too hard of a fight for him.
Yeah.
I think you want to. I think.
I mean, I know that
if you want to progress him properly, surely you want to throw him in with from a promoter standpoint, you want to throw him in with an old veteran, a Chisora, maybe a Dylan White, someone that's on their way out. Fabio Wardley, he's young, isn't he? He's coming into his prime years. That could be a big fight in the future.
Jalilov, that's an interesting fight. But yeah, the Wardley fight I heard the other day. Somebody, I think it was Francis Warren said it in an interview. That actually can't happen at the minute, because apparently there's a board rule about you can't box 12 rounds till you're 20 years old. So if they did it, they would have to put it as a 10-rounder. I didn't even know that was a rule.
I've not heard that.
Must be a new rule.
No, surely that's not the case.
Yeah, no, Francis.
You've got to have boxed an
Francis is. Francis.
They actually even changed that a few years ago.
Francis was saying that they couldn't do a British title for him till he turns 20 because he's not allowed to box 12 rounds.
That don't make sense though, because youth world titles is
but they're only 8 and 10 rounds.
Youth world titles are still 12, aren't they?
No, 10.
Are they 10?
Yeah, because I was looking at one for someone the other day. They're 10.
We're digressing a little bit here. Let's get back to the card. It's a really good topic and one we can probably use on another show. But let's get back. Yeah. Let's get back to the card. Let's get quick predictions on Moses Itauma, because I'm wanting to get through this card if we can. So Daz, you've talked about it. Quick prediction.
Moses Itauma inside 3 rounds.
Jack.
Moses Itauma on points.
Joe, let's say what you've got to say, mate.
Knockout Moses within the distance.
Okay, Darren.
Moses Itauma points.
Wow. Okay, Brett, are you seeing it, mate?
Yeah, Moses is with a knockout, probably 5th, 6th round.
Sean, that's one.
Yeah, I agree. I think Itauma in 5 or 6.
Okay. Moving swiftly on to, it should have been a fight that would have been probably the fight of the night, which was meant to be Peter Mcgrail against Dennis McCann, but for obvious reasons, which we'll talk about shortly, that's now not happening. Peter Mcgrail is now fighting a really, really top fighter in Reese Edwards, but it's short notice. This makes a big difference in the balance of the fight, in my opinion. If Reese Edwards had been given a full camp, this would be a very, very close fight. I'm not convinced now that it will be.
I would like to add quickly before you go carry on. He was scheduled to fight Leon Woodstock Jr. on the 11th of January, so he should already be half ready, should he?
It's likely that he's been in camp. It's like he's been ticking over. Will he have been in full camp? We're 6 weeks out from that? 4 weeks out from that?
Yeah, 4, I think.
He should be a couple of weeks away from tapering down, shouldn't he?
Yeah, you're probably right then. You're probably right then, Joe. I mean, that's interesting, obviously.
Peter McGrail was a different class, really, to Leon Woodstock Jr., but should take every fight.
Also, it's 2 weight divisions higher.
I was just going to say, yeah.
It's been made at super feather and not feather as well, because from what I was told, and I know his manager, Reese just said, look, not crashing weight.
Jack, that's probably because of the fact that Reese is still losing weight to get ready for that fight against Leon. Well,
Reese said, I'm not crashing down to feather.
I mean, that fight's not been taken off a box rec, so I don't think that fight's been cancelled on the 11th either.
They probably won't do anything until after the fight, because obviously if he gets stopped, he can't box. But
if he gets
they'll probably see how he is after that.
Oh, it depends on the circumstances as well, doesn't it? Because that's a WBA Intercontinental Featherweight title fight.
Against Leon,
obliged, aren't you? Yeah.
If
he's contractually obliged, what can he do? It's whether the Saudis have paid him off to void the contract. You don't know, but yeah,
it's a big fight for Leon. I was talking to him not long ago at a show in Leicester. He's chomping at the bit. You know, he was lined up for an English final eliminator, making his way back after a couple of losses earlier on in his career, and great fighter, Leon. By the way,
great lad, nice guy.
He is a fantastic lad, and if this fight doesn't happen for him on the 11th, it's a real shame that obviously this is a massive card, and Reese Edwards couldn't turn this fight down. Let's be realistic. He's probably getting his payday for stepping in. There's no two ways about that. He's going to do that, isn't he? So I'll come to you first, Jack. Let's get your take on this fight.
Yeah, I'm a bit like you. Although the weight's gone up, and I think it might be semi-competitive because of the weight going up, but I do think that McGrail will probably end up winning because one, he's that good.
Jack, tell that clown in corner stop squeezing its nose.
Brett, while Jack's doing that, mate.
I didn't mean go.
The time when Jack comes on this show is his dog taking the limelight. Brett, let's get your prediction, mate.
Well, when any change of opponent happens, you have to question where the boxer's mindset is, don't you? In terms of what they were looking for and what they were going to do. But I'll just keep this sweet. I would imagine that it's going to be a decent scrap, but I think McGrail will take a points decision on this one.
Darren, is there any chance Peter McGrail mentally switched off because he didn't think he was fighting?
Possibly. I mean, you've got to say big up Turkey Al-Sheikh. I know he's the man with the money, but big up for him for actually rescuing a fight here for Peter McGrail, because, you know, when the Dennis McCann thing happened, I thought there's no way with this short notice they'll be able to get a late replacement. But the Saudi Riyadh season cards are obviously the ones where fighters pull out, and they are the promotion to get the fighters in late. I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, fighters obviously have to be prepared for late notice change. That's odd. I'd think he'd be mentally prepared for it, but it's a change of style again. It's a change of fighter, so he could cause a few problems. Reece Edwards is a good fighter, undefeated, so he could cause some problems for Peter McGrail here. But I do really, really rate Peter McGrail. But I think it's a tough fight for late notice, so I'd probably edge Peter McGrail on points, but I don't think he'll have it completely all his own way. And I was very much looking forward to the Dennis McCann fight, but this one's still very good for me. I'm looking forward to it.
Sean, you've got to give respect to Reece Edwards for stepping in here. You know, this is a fight that might have happened for him 2 or 3 fights down the line. Should he have got past Leon Woodstock, the fight that was meant to have happened and may still happen. You've got to give him respect for jumping in here last minute.
Yeah, absolutely. And we all know boxing, so let's not beat around the bush. He's probably sort of half changed his life jumping on this card as well, with the money banding about. So I don't think anyone can begrudge him taking this fight, and fair play to him. As for the fight, I think Peter McGrail will come through fairly comfortably. He'll win wide on points for me.
Joe, prize fighters, right?
Same, yeah, I agree, mate. I think I'll get straight into it. I think Peter McGrail will beat him on points, but like you were saying before, questioning, would he have changed his mind and switched off a little bit? Maybe, but obviously having the right team around you to say, come on, let's not give up on it yet. There's a chance that we could pull in someone last minute, and he'd have had Turkey Al-Sheikh and all them people letting him know and reassuring we'll sort it. Don't switch off. And I'm sure that he wouldn't have. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Does this in opponent in Bradley Foster on the records? I think Peter McGrail stopped Bradley in about 5 rounds.
Yeah, body shot. Yeah,
and Reece Edwards took him to points, I believe. So that was I think that was a year ago, and I think Brad Foster was he Pete McGrail's last fight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, that little take. What's your how this pans out? Because obviously it's disappointing we're not seeing the Dennis McCann fight. That would have been a great fight, right?
Yeah, but this isn't a bad fight. If this were made with 10 weeks notice, we'd be like, good fight this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've got to give credit to Peter McGrail as well. He's prepared to go in with an opponent of this caliber, late notice. Give Reece Edwards credit. He's prepared to go in with caliber McGrail at this late notice. Yeah, I think McGrail comes through. I think McGrail wins on points, like most of you guys. But I do think Reece Edwards will have his moments. But yeah, I think McGrail comes through. Would have liked to have seen the McCann fight, but obviously what's happened there has happened. But yeah, listen, it's a good fight. It's a good fight. I'll be honest with you. When McCann was announced as done, I was like, I think everyone was disappointed. Oh, that we're going to be best fight on card.
Yeah,
it's going to be a good fight still. This is going to be a good fight. So I'm looking forward to it.
Prediction?
McGrail on points.
I think everyone's thinking very similar. This is just as good as. Again, I believe it would have been a better fight had Reece known 10 weeks out that this was going to be the guy who was fighting. But even so, he definitely asks Peter McGrail questions. This isn't a one-sided fight by any stretch.
He has a chance of winning.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Could be a fight of the night, this. Last one I want to talk about on the card, lads. is Isaac Lowe against Lee McGregor, featherweight fight. Are on this one. Anyone know?
It's got to be a 12, hasn't it?
I'll get it up now. I've got box rec on my screen
It's
here.
still question mark on box rec. They still don't know.
Yeah,
it's down as
Anyway.
a 10 rounder on Bet365. But
10.
it's down as a 10 rounder.
Brett, let's go with you first then, mate. One question before we go into this. Is Isaac Lowe the luckiest fighter in boxing to get the way he gets on him?
Well, what I was going to say is, like, back in the day when you're the unpopular one and your mate's popular and you get invited to parties and you say, can me mate come? And it's kind of that feeling. Tyson's the popular one. He says, can me mate come? And he's lucky, but fair play. You know, there's loyalty from Tyson there to put him on the card.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I've never been a fan. I've always watched his fights because they usually start the cards that Tyson's on, don't they? You know, he's game and he's got a fighting spirit and all that type of stuff. But in terms of this one, I see it got the bookies have got it quite close in the betting, but I see McGregor winning it on points and very, very, very comfortably for me. As I say, never really seen too much from Lowe that gets me excited, but I've seen flashes from McGregor that definitely get me excited. So yeah, the luckiest man in the world will be on another card again this weekend, and fair play to him.
Joe, you're laughing. Obviously, you know you're wanting to get on these massive cards. Is it frustrating?
I'm just laughing at the luckiest man in the world. You can't argue with that, can you? You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, these are great cards. I've obviously been a part of the AJ one before, so I've tasted it. And that wasn't even on the actual proper card. So yeah, I'm another one, mate. Give me any one of them. I'd step in tomorrow. Like if there was a lightweight on there and I got a phone call saying you want to fly out to Saudi and fight him, I'd be on the first flight there tomorrow. So yeah, but
I'll wash your gum shield, Joe.
Yeah, Scott's got it, mate. So it's closer to you than me. But yeah, great fight as well, Isaac Lowe and Lee McGregor. But I can't see Lee McGregor losing this.
Okay, Daz, what's your thoughts, mate?
Do you know what, mate? I agree totally. Yeah, luckiest man, but I think he's related to Tyson as well. I'm pretty sure he's Tyson's cousin.
Yeah.
Do you know what, mate? And I'm sure Joe will say this. You know, Joe would, if Joe were best mates with Canelo, and Canelo's had a thing and said every card I'm on, get my mate Joe on. You know, that's good. Do you know what I mean? That's what.
Yeah, of course it is. I'm not looking. I'm just saying.
No. I know you're not. No. You know, he's had a lot of paydays that had he not been Tyson's cousin, he probably wouldn't have got. So, you know, fair play to him. He keeps turning up, keeps trying his best. I've met Isaac a couple of times, and he seems like a really nice kid. I quite like watching him and Lee McGregor go, or whoever it is that he's going to fight. They go back and forth on social media, and it ends up in like a spelling correction lesson. You know what I mean? It's just balmy. But yeah, I mean, I think McGregor takes this. I think McGregor's class. I really do. I think McGregor's a good fighter. So I think McGregor takes this on points.
Darren, do you see anything other than a Lee McGregor win?
No, I think Lee McGregor might actually stop Isaac Lowe. I mean, the surprising defeat of Lee McGregor's career was the Rob Les fight, and then Rob Les went on to fight Liam Davies. I think he got stopped in 2 rounds. So for Lee McGregor to lose that fight, that was quite surprising. But since then, he's had like I think it was an 8-rounder and then a 6-rounder, and he's won them both by stoppage. So Isaac Lowe, for me, like a lot of the guys have said, I've never really been too impressed by him. I mean, he fought Nick Ball on the undercard of Fury and Dillian White, and he got taken apart. But that's not such a bad defeat with what Nick Ball's gone on to do. I'm looking for Lee McGregor to make a statement here. I think he'll stop Isaac Lowe late.
Okay, Sean, I don't think you predicted on this one yet. Let's have your opinion.
Yeah,
mate.
I agree with Darren. I think probably 2 or 3 years ago, I think Mcgrail signed McGregor, didn't they? And then his career just kind of fizzled out a bit. But this could be the sort of ignition he needs to get his career back on track. And yeah, I agree with Darren. I think he'll get the stoppage.
Okay, that's it. That's the last one we're going to talk about on this card. There's one more topic we need to talk about. I don't want this to turn a witch hunt for Dennis McCann because we don't know the full facts on anything that's gone off yet. But what I do want is your opinions on what all these adverse findings in recent years are doing to the state of boxing and the public opinion of boxing, because it's definitely having an effect. And I'm going to come straight to you, Joe. You're a fighter. You're the one stepping in. You're putting your and I'm not being melodramatic here either. You're putting your life on the line, get in the ring. You're believing that the person that you're getting in there with is clean. Now these tests are in place to stop any possibility that that's not happening, and then we get findings like this. What's your first reaction, bud?
I think, like you say, you don't want to go after the person until they're proven guilty. So that's hard, especially when you see it come up straight away. But I think it's great. Like I don't want to like speak badly on anything to do with drug testing, but I've been a pro for 6 years. I've not been drug tested once.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? I've been a pro for 6 years, not been drug tested once. I've boxed on Sky Sports in the boxer tournament. I boxed obviously on the DAZN card on Riyadh season against Cameron Blanc, and I boxed in the English title eliminator. And I think at the small hall, 4 rounds, 6 rounds, it's not much of a problem there. Like if you're not being drug tested, because yeah, I think it should probably still be there, but it's not that much of a problem. But when you're stepping into big fights, if I thought on that Riyadh season, I want to change my life here, I'm gonna pop something, I'm gonna smash him to pieces, and they would have been none the wiser because I've still never been drug tested. But so I think it's great for the sport, but it costs a lot of money. I think it cost them about £2,000 a person to drug test them through UCAD. So at the small hall level, who is gonna drug test these fighters? Because I certainly ain't paying to be drug tested.
Well, you've hit the nail on the head, Joe. Fighters on smaller shows cannot afford out of their own to sign up for any drug testing policies.
Was it who was the finding? Was it VADA or was it UCAD?
VADA, I think.
So VADA, that's voluntary as well. That's a voluntary anti-doping. So good on him. For me, that means he hasn't willingly took a steroid, in my opinion. Because why would you sign up for voluntary doping if you're cheating? I don't think you would. I think you'd be an absolute fool to do that. So who knows? But yeah, I think good that he's been caught. If he is cheating, if not, then I feel sorry for him.
Daz, Joe's just made a really, really good point there. The fact that he's been pro for such a long time, not been tested once. And that's because the money's not there on small hall. But he's not just fought on small, he's been on the big show.
I can't handle that, mate. That's up to Eddie and everybody. I mean, I know Nicola in a Commonwealth title defence last time had to do a test after that.
Yep, she did.
And that's the only time I've known her get tested. Obviously, small hall wise, I mean, we used to all, be about together. And in them shows in workshop, there were never no testing. Anywhere small hall. Like you say, it costs a lot of money. I mean, someone said something interesting to me the other day because I wrote about Dennis McCann yesterday, and I said, you know, it's very hard a volunteer. And I said what Joe has said, to be fair. I said, I can't see him knowingly taking something to then do the voluntary test. And then someone said, oh, well, what if he tried to cover it up? I went, I can't see it. And then I spoke to someone else who said, no matter how successful Dennis McCann is, they've not got the money to pay these people to cover up. You know what I mean? You're talking millions and millions. Then we got into the Lance Armstrong thing. You know, his chemist, if you want to call him that, made millions, you know, trying to disguise his blood doping. I just think he's probably took a supplement or something, and it's off at list. It's not on the same.
Either that took something or ate something out there, mate, that is not had checked. And if that is the case, that's
after his last fight, weren't it? After his last fight, he's been tested.
Oh, was it?
Apparently so, yeah.
I thought it was in the build up to this.
No, I got told it after his last fight. He had adverse findings.
Okay.
So obviously that's
the thing as well. I had the debate with someone about this before. Like, as a fighter as well, I've never been drug tested, but any supplement or anything I put in my body, I am accountable for.
Yeah.
So if Scott comes up to me, Scott's my trainer. I have absolutely. I look at him like a father figure in my life. If he come up to me and says, "Joe, I want you taking this. It's gonna make you have some crazy knockout power," I'd be like, "Right, stand. Have you checked it?" That's the first thing I'd say, because whether he thinks I need to take it to improve my punching power, he ain't the man that's gonna be, like you said before, the witch hunt after him. It's not going to be Scott that gets the abuse. It's me. I'm the killer. If I go in there and kill someone, I'm the man that's killed him. And I have to hold that on my conscience forever. So, yeah, I've never been drug tested, but everything I've ever took, I've always checked on because there's literally an app when you turn pro and you're in the interview, with the board. They tell you, go on this website. It's called Glowdro. I think it's called. Yeah. You go on there. You scan the barcode on whatever product you are going to use, and it tells you whether it's been tested or not. And if you want to even be simpler than that, all it has to say on the product is Informed Sport. And if it's got Informed Sport on it, it means every single batch anywhere made has been tested.
Then I wasn't aware of that. I wasn't aware that there was an app that you just scan a barcode and it tells you whether the product's okay or not.
Simple as that.
It is the case, right? And that does sound very simple. If that is the case, surely that's foolproof.
And that again is why I think, like Daz said, he's probably took something and gone, like maybe a pre-workout, you know, something simple as that. Gone, I need a quick energy boost to get through this session. Don't want to check it. Ain't got a time or something. Maybe he just goes right, bam, pops it. And
do you know, as mad as it sounds as well, it could have been training. He could have had a phone call from his missus. Can you go and pick me this up? So he's had to go and pick something up and thought, oh, missed me tea. I'll pop in the shop and grab something. Gone into a shop, grabbed something, necked it, and there we are. It's madness, mate. Honestly, it's crazy.
Sometimes you do get it as well, where you scan it, you check it, and this is from my own experience as an athlete. You can scan it and check it, and it's been developed in a lab next to something that is banned, and there is cross-contamination.
Yeah, and there's also the batch. There's also the batches. There's also the batch numbers as well. You think one product could have been made without it, and then 6-9 months later down the line, they're gone. Right, this way of making it's better, new batch, but same product. You might have been teching it before and not known that new batch is containing a drug, and then you go and tech it because you've teching it before, you checked it before, it was bang on, and then bam, you're done.
Do you know the thing is and all, and I think this will sum up the point of boxers fighting against other fighters who were taking PEDs. Joe fought Cameron Wong, cracking fight. Now, if after that fight, Joe had found out that Cameron Wong had tested positive for performance enhancers, how would you have felt?
I'd have been heartbroken, to be
Yeah,
honest.
because you them shots you hit him with, without them performance enhancers, he probably wouldn't have soaked up.
Yeah,
he might not have been as strong. He might not have been as powerful. It's blatant cheating.
And I'd also just feel betrayed by the sport that I love. Because
exactly, yeah. I'm not saying Cameron Vong's a drug cheater.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. I don't think it would be. I think that's the good thing with Matchroom as well. Matchroom at the minute, I think Matchroom are the ones that have paid UCAD to start testing all their fighters. They said we're going to take the hit and we're going to test our fighters. That's why so many of Matchroom's fighters have been getting caught because of that reason. But yeah, if I'd just be gutted, I'd hate everyone in boxing, the board, the promotion. Do you know what I mean? It'd be gutted, but
give a shout out to Josh Wilk, because the first person to do it in the UK, he used to pay for everyone on his undercards to have VADA testing. So every undercard fight on an AJ thing, right down to the 4-rounders.
That's the thing. Like if they just pay out of their purse for every single fighter on that card, I know, yeah, they're taking the hit, but what
$100,000 a time apparently?
What exactly? What is that to him?
Nothing.
What is it?
It's nothing to Turkey. It's nothing to Turkey, Al-Sheikh either.
Exactly.
Every single one of these cards on Riyadh season, every single fighter should be drug tested as policy.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Sean, you've been sat there quietly listening. You've got Daz, who's a trainer. You've got Joe, who's a current pro. You've got Jack, who's a matchmaker. They're all talking a lot of sense about why we've got drug testing. But obviously, we've got a situation here. We don't know what's happened with Dennis McCann right now. We're going to find out. These boys all think it's very unlikely he's done it purposely. This could ruin the kid's career for at least a couple of years. The problem is he has to prove that he's taken something by mistake and not purposely. And how do you prove that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just an IT salesman, so I won't be able to add as much insight into the guys here. But yeah, that is a difficult thing, isn't it? With drug taking in boxing, unfortunately, you're guilty until you're proven innocent, and that's the trouble for Dennis McCann now. Like everyone said, it would be awfully stupid to take a banned substance when you've voluntarily signed up to a drugs test. And you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. But let's just hope that he isn't vilified. Well, he will be, but let's hope he can sort of come through it and make the other side until all the facts are known and we actually know what's going on.
Well, one way or the other, there's been another adverse finding, and it's another dark mark on the professional boxing. A position where if these things do happen, and these testings become mandatory especially for the large shows, for TV shows, these testings should become mandatory. And if that's the case, there's got to be clarity. And I think these organisations all need to come together, and we either have one that makes all the rules, not one for the UK, one for the States. If you want to sign up for it, you can. If you want, if you don't, then take what you want and you won't be tested. What's all that about? There's got to be some clarity here, boys. Surely, Daz?
Mate, I tell you what, Joe, naming no names, Joe will have seen probably some of the same. But if they brought drug testing into small hall, mate, I'm telling you now, there'd be a lot more findings. Some people I'm not going to name no names, but some of the people I've seen at shows, mate, and it's horrible to say it, but when people say, oh, it's rife in boxing at small hall level, you don't want to think it is, but sometimes you sort of see things and think, you know, it's it's not great, mate. Even if Dennis has not, done it intentionally, like Joe said earlier, he's got to be responsible for what he puts in his body. The buck stops with him. He's got to be responsible.
You're a professional athlete. It's your job, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Going back to what Joe said earlier, right? This whole thing about the drug testing, UCAD don't really test that regularly on anything. I mean, I know different sport, but look at where I was. I was British #1, and I only ever got tested once in my entire career. I went to
test you now with some,
and that's the only time I got tested.
Yeah, them recreational drugs.
Mate, I literally got tested at the World Champs, and that was it. Only time I ever got tested. Which
it's crazy.
Who paid for that? Who paid for that, Jack?
No, it was done by World Anti-Doping. They tested. Just my luck. They tested the top 3 and one other person. I actually got tested in camp, but
I think the simple solution for the British boxing, I think, but it's not. I say it's a solution. It's also not a solution. But the every year we all have a medical. Every single one of us, we have a piss test. We have brain scans. All of that. Simple. When you have your medical, drug tested at the exact same time. The board they have documentation of when we all do our medicals, exact same time. They should take the board. They should take the it and go, right, there you go. Drug test them. I know it's only once a year, but at least it's once a year. If you're on a 6-month cycle and you are like cheating, taking steroids, whatever, you're on a 6-month cycle or so, it's hard to then program around a medical, isn't it?
Joe, you can't say this, Joe, but I'm going to because I can. The board take enough money off fighters, so why shouldn't the board take a hit on something like this? I don't expect you to answer that, Joe.
Why shouldn't they, or why should they?
I would.
Yeah, they should.
I think they should. Yeah, I think that we pay.
Exactly.
I think we pay the board enough money all the time. Our license fees. I think we do pay them enough money. I think that they have the insurances and whatnot. And at the end of the day, they're a business. I get it. What they have to do, they have to be a business. It's
they're supposed to be a non-profit, aren't they?
No, they're a limited company. They're called the British Border Control Limited. It's a limited company.
Because I never knew what they were supposed to be because I've never.
Look, I love the board. Like I have to because they are the people who govern my sport and they're great. They license me. Yeah, but these women, these women that are sat in the office, they're on salaries. Like they earn more than me, and I'm the one taking the punishment. But I get it. There has to be a governing body of the sport. And simple.
Well, look at this thing. What they brought in, this neuroscience thing.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
That's cool.
You have to sit in. You have to sit in a room and do like. I don't know, draw circles and stuff.
Right, that's all at the expense of the boxer, right, Daz?
Yeah, it's 750 quid, I think.
It's ridiculous.
Yes. It ended up costing me, and I'll say this, but I'm not going to say which one it was. One of my fighters, it ended up costing us a fight in America. And I ended up having to pay the promoter's flights back. So it ended up losing me best part of $2,000.
Crazy, mate. Honestly, it's just.
I think the thing is, I was speaking to my friend about this earlier. I think the thing for the board is with boxing for them is now in the day and age we're in now, it's not the same as it once was when they first started. You've got shows in Saudi where you've got Turkey flying out. I don't know who the referees are or whatnot, but you got Turkey flying the board out. So you probably, I don't know who, but flying out 3 referees for this show probably, or 2 referees, and their wages are probably being paid for the week. They're getting accommodation for the week. They're also getting paid their wage for the fight, and then they get to watch Fury versus Usyk in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Last week they was watching Joe Hughes box Romario Lopez in a fucking leisure centre in Nottingham. Do you know what I mean? Like, I said it to my mate. What would you do? I'd be in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with a film. Do you know what I mean?
Cole's get shut down as a channel, but anyway, he says maybe they stop having loads of officials at shows doing F all. I tell you what, and this is just on small all. God knows how many they've got at big shows, but on small all, there's so many boxing board of control officials milling around. They're all doing something and getting paid to do something by the promoter. By the way, costs an absolute fortune for promoters to put these shows on. I mean, Joe will know because he'll have conversations with the team that.
See, I'm fortunate and unfortunate enough to know, because Scott, the promoter of these shows in Nottingham, he's my manager, promoter, trainer. At times, I'm in the gym training. His phone will go off. He'll have a quick look, and then that's it. You'll lose him. The session's done. You might as well take your gloves off there and then and go home, because his head's gone. He'll be like, he'll get a message, and he just, that's it, him done. And the amount of stress I see that man go through in the lead up to fight, it's painful. It's painful, and that's why
and there is another promoter that locally that I'm not going to name that said, you know, the amount of money that they have to pay out for these officials that just half of them sit around do nothing. There'll be one official sat in the changing room all fight. He does nothing but sits in the changing room watching fighters pad up.
Nothing
else.
One of the shows in the Northeast, because obviously I'm milling around and my job is basically done once the fights start. They gave me all the money, so I was handing out all the money to the officials, and I'm like, how does this make any sense? Like, everyone seemed to be getting paid, which I mean, got a job to do.
Do you know?
Paying people all night.
Do you know what the thing is? And all, speaking from a trainer's point of view, I mean, Scott, bless him, Scott's a trainer, a manager, and he promotes. So people might think, oh yeah, that's great. You know what I mean? But like I said, I've seen the stress as well that Scott gets put under. And do you know what? We talk about small all drug testing and all that. Small all boxing gets neglected for me 100%. Because when you get, I mean, one of my fighters offered a fight abroad, and you say, yeah, all right, makes sense. They fly 2 trainers out, but them trainers have to take a week off work. If they haven't got holidays, they don't get paid. Do you know what I mean? And then they turn around and you said to them, well, are you going to pay expenses for wages lost? No, we're not paying that. We'll just pay your hotels and flight. It's just shocking. Do you know what I mean? End of the day, we all live in real world. I mean, most of us go to work, boxing somewhere for a bit of extra money sort of thing. But, people look at me when I was working and say, why are you still working? You're training a Commonwealth champion. You're training an ex-world champion.
Oh, mate, it's insane.
Mate, honestly, money is...
The amount of people I've had say to me, oh, you boxed on that Riyadh season. Yeah. What did you get for that? 100 grand. I'm like, you fucking what? Like, stuff like that, mate. Honestly, it's absolutely insane. People just think professional boxer or professional boxing trainer. They think
you're loaded, mate.
Yeah, they think you're loaded. It's like far from it, mate.
Yeah. The reality is, Joe. The reality is, I know we're going off of this drug thing, but I'm quite happy for us to go where we're going with this. The reality is that most fight fans, especially casuals that watch these big shows, will have absolutely no idea what trainers, promoters, managers, and especially fighters on small hall shows go through. You guys have to sell tickets to even get on the card. If you don't sell enough tickets, you don't want the card because you
Mate,
promote.
it's like I said to you in that interview, isn't it? It's like I said to you in that interview. You're going to take hard fights out there for opportunities for absolute crap money, like a Midlands title fight, an area title fight. You're going to get paid 2-3 grand. Or if one of these big promoters come knocking, you're going to get 6, 7, 8 grand for similar sort of level fight. And without saying money's what you should chase, you deserve money.
1,000,000%.
You deserve money. So if I'm being offered to fight an 8-rounder or a 10-rounder against 2 similar opponents, one's on TV and one's a title fight, I'm 9 times out of 10, I'm taking the TV fight because it pays more money, and that's not because I'm in the sport for money, but it's because I deserve that money.
Like,
yeah, definitely.
my fighter's mandatory title, right? Realistically, we now either have to try and luck into a TV slot or go to Italy. Because if we don't go, no small hall promoter here can afford to put that on because of the officials' cost and stuff. We'd have to sell some ridiculous amount of tickets to come.
Go to Italy and get him a purse.
Well, that's
tickets.
That's our logic. We might end up doing that.
Yeah, do it.
But she went to Italy before and it didn't work out. Like, we basically had to knock them out to get a draw. But you know what? We might go to Italy because it might be the only option we've got. And if we're gonna, but you know what? It's a shame that there doesn't seem to be a way around it. And if somebody comes up with a way around it, I'll support it.
I think the way around it for me is they need to take a leaf out of the old book of how it used to be. A card in a town or city where there's a leading fighter. So I'll use Nottingham for example. You've got a Lee Wood, boxers on Matchroom shows. This is what they used to do back in the day. They'd get a Lee Wood, top of the bill, world title fight, whatever. They get me. They get the me's of the world. They get me, Ryan Amos, Jack, local fighters. Fill the card up with them young fighters, and let the main event take the hit on the money financially, and give all these young lads and these upcoming fighters a shot on the TV shows. You never know. In 6, 4, 8 fights, that kid that's the undercard building the show, he's the main event. You've got your money back, and then you rebuild again. And that's, in my opinion, that's how they used to do it. There's so many posters in Scott's gym of how it was, and then back in the day, like Scott's got so many posters, and you look at them, and the main event there, you look 3 posters back or 4 posters back, he was at the bottom of the undercard, and now he's the main event.
Well, even like, I mean, there's that one in Scott's gym with I think it's got Naz on it. From Mansfield Leisure Centre.
Yeah, exactly.
And Naz were like down at bottom at Bill.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't remember who. I think Roger Brotherhood were on it.
Yeah, Roger Brotherhood. Yeah.
But yeah, Naz. I mean, obviously localish area, Mansfield, Sheffield,
exactly.
all that. So yeah,
Midlands area, or
if
you clash Sheffield as that, but
it's near there, isn't it? But you've got like your other. I mean, like in Sheffield, you'd have quite established fighters. Like you'd have a Clinton Woods, and then on undercard you got a John Fuchs.
I'll tell you what,
and all that. Do you know what I mean? Go on, Jack.
One I saw that we had in the Northeast was, if you look at Phil Jeffries' cards from like 2015, bottom of the card was Lewis Ritson. If you look 2017, 2018 for the area title in the same venue, it's Lewis Ritson is the main event.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Do you
about the card?
do you know what, Ray? Today, I had a conversation with someone today because one of my pals has got into this bare knuckle boxing stuff, and to get, listen, I'm proud I'm a British Boxing Board of Control trainer. Do you know what I mean? I've been around boxing since I was 12-year-old. I've took a few lumps and learnt some things. And do you know what, mate? You know, if I were to go into that bare knuckle game and coach fighters in that, I'd make some money. And that's, you know, listen, and I'm not being, listen, quite a lot of these bare knuckle lads, they can have a row, they can have a tear up. But when you're coaching someone to go skill for skill against someone who's either slightly bit better than him or a bit less than him, but you're in that pitted against a trainer as much as what the boxer gets pinned. This bare knuckle, listen, some of these kids are, they've got the game and everything, but a lot of the time it's just running to the middle, meet each other and swing punches.
Who lands first?
Yeah, and to be able to make more money doing that than in sport we love and the sport that takes, experience and a bit of knowledge. It's a sad situation.
Yeah, I spoke to someone about it earlier. I was at the barbers earlier, and this lad that I know come in, and he was like, one of our mutual friends is BKB world champion, and he was like, he's been offered to fight on Misfits. Why don't you do it? And I was like, look, no disrespect to the bare knuckle fighter. He's doing what he's doing. He's a world champion in it, but a world champion in bare knuckle boxing, they're not even on the level of any professional boxer. They're not. So him going in Misfits, why not? If he can earn some money. But for us professional boxers that got aspirations that want to achieve something, I would, if they offered me a fight in the Misfits, I might contemplate it, but I wouldn't do it, and Scott would probably never let me do
it. Like, I look at it the way boxing is, and it's a strange one. I'm in a weird position because I'm probably I don't know if Daz has. I think Daz has another job, don't you?
What? Sensitive subject. Move on.
The reason I'm saying this, like, because I'm in the weird position that boxing's my full-time job, right? But most people who work in our sport don't really do it for the money. Like, Joe's just said, yeah, you want to get the money and you've earned the money, but 9 times out of 10, you're not fighting for that. Most people are fighting just because it's what they're good at and it's what they want to do. Like, it's a strange sport where you can be a professional but not really earn anything.
It's everyone gets into boxing because they love it. Everyone, whether you're a coach, a boxer, a spectator, everyone does it. Everyone gets in the sport because they love it. Money is just a part of it. It's such everyone just looks at the top and sees how glorified it is and how much money they're earning, but that's just not how it is. Like you said, Scott, I'll use it. Scott as again as an example. Scott has a great job. I'm sure. I know for a fact Scott only manages and promotes for the sake of his fighters, to look after them, to make sure he can build them up and get them big opportunities and a piece of the pie, nice bit of money. But Scott's got a good job.
He's not making on them shows, is he, Joe?
No, Scott's got a good job, and I'm sure Scott would rather just go to work, come home, train me, go home. Go to work, come home, train me, and just do that. But he goes to work, trains us, comes back, promotes, manages, rings the board, rings agent. It's one of them, and he's not getting them any money for it.
Constant.
I mean, people think, and this is where managers, and if you're at the top level, you probably do have this. But I genuinely, people genuinely think, because when I say I'm full-time boxing, thousands, and it really isn't that case. I will genuinely, if somebody ever got to the point where they're annoyed, and it annoys me when people say, "Oh, you must make thousands." No, if I did, I probably would love that, and I would be out. I mean, I could show people my bank account. It doesn't have thousands in. The biggest payday I've had from a fighter is about 500 quid. The biggest payday I've had from a match is more than that. Not stupidly more, but I've never had these 10, 15, 20 grand paydays that people seem to think that come all the time.
Do you know what though, Joe? Sorry, not Joe. Jack. It's like matchmakers, and this is not aimed at you, but when Nicola fought Ivanka Ivanova, I made that. It was me that put that forward. I didn't see out of that.
No.
But I know a certain someone got 750 quid for it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not just a trainer. I'm a big brother. I'm a agony aunt. You know what I mean? And do you know what? The fighters I train now, I've only got two. I won't change it. I love them both. They're both like my little sisters. But the point where boxing's at minute for me is, you know, I've got to this level where I think I'm a pretty good coach. So I've got things to offer a fighter. But to not be able to make that pay because you've acquired a skill, it's like Joe. Joe will put his body through hell to be ready to fight. You know, you deserve them big paydays. I don't care if you're fighting for a title, you still deserve a big payday. You don't deserve to have the stress of selling tickets. You deserve the paydays, and something has got to be done. So, from my point, as a trainer, done. That's me done. You know, why do I want to stick around for this shit? You know, where you're not getting anything. And it might sound a bit mercenary-like, but at the end of the day, we've all got bills to pay. Do you know what I mean?
As I say, as a manager, I've lost more on fighters than I've ever made. Like, I've paid out for fighters that I manage, not anyone else's, just the ones I manage. So I'm not going to say which ones, but I've paid out on two out of the three of them.
Well, look at that situation with that Mo, right? We took Perry down to, was it Tolworth?
Yeah, Tolworth.
Yeah, took Perry down to Tolworth to fight. I didn't go into work on Saturday. I says, "Oh, good on," because boxing's what I love. I love it. So I thought, "Oh, good on. Perry will fight. Get 100 quid. I could have made 250 quid at work." So anyway, it goes down. Opponent didn't turn up, and we didn't even get paid. Do you know what I mean? Come away with 40 quid. It was like,
I've had it loads of time as a fighter. I remember one time when I was fighting for the Midlands title, 10 rounder, absolutely grafted my bollocks off for it. I think it was the second time I was due to fight. The first time fell through, second time. And week of the fight, I was fighting Sean Cooper. Week of the fight, you do the final check weighing from the board. He came in overweight, so the fight got called off.
Midweek, you got that check weight, right?
Yeah, so Tuesday before the fight on the Saturday. I was the away fighter. I was going up to Birmingham to fight him. And I don't blame Errol for this, Errol Johnson, but because of the fight was now off, and I'd sold quite a few tickets, not enough to cover the cost, but the fight was off, and he was like, "Well, you're off as well." And I'm like, "I've just trained for a Midlands title, 10 rounds, grafted my bollocks off, sold ticket, and now you're just off the show." And he was like, "Mate, I can't do it to buy it." And I remember Scott says to me, I goes, "I'm off, I'm done." Scott says, "No, I've seen how much you've put into this. I'm not letting you not fight." And I says, "Yeah, but Scott, I can't afford to fight. I've not sold enough tickets." And Scott paid 500 quid out of his own pocket for me to fight. Not even me paid it. He paid it. And that's what these managers do. And that's what, again, the importance of getting such a good manager that will do that. But I've had that numerous times. The last fight you interviewed me at, I paid 50 quid that day to box.
It's mad, isn't it, mate?
I mean, I put money in the last time that one of mine fought because he was just a little bit short, and I wasn't gonna let him. I wasn't gonna let him miss that opportunity because there are plans for him, and for him to get where he needs to go, he has to fight. And it wasn't insane money, but we actually agreed after. He was like, "Look, you shouldn't have to do this. Like, let's." So he was gonna fight him fight early next year. We've pushed it back a month just because there's a sponsor that can come on board, but can only come on board from a month later. And he was like, look, just so you're not going to have to put your hand in your pocket again, because he doesn't want me to keep paying out every time he fights. But I mean, I just think like I'm almost sounding like a self-defense mechanism. It's not. Like, fighters are the ones who really suffer, but I'm just saying, like, people have this assumption that all matchmakers or managers are driving around.
Lads, sorry to cut you off, Jack. I'm going to have to shoot. I've got some stuff to do. So, right, good to see you, Joe. Good to see you, Joe. Let me know when you're fighting next, and I'll try and get over.
Nice one. Have a good Christmas, mate.
All right, you too, mate. See you later.
I'm going to bring the show to a close shortly anyway, lads. I just want to pick 2 comments up in the sidebar. I've really enjoyed this topic. It's something I wasn't expecting to talk about, but it's really, really interesting. And I'm hoping that a lot of people watch it because they don't understand. I've
just got a shout out Sean. He sat there and listened to all of this. He's not said a word. He's just there, isn't he? Just
Sean's great. Joe, he comes on the show all the time. He's got a really good opinion. He's just like me. He's just a boxing fan at the end of the day.
He's just absorbing all this knowledge, isn't he?
I mean, this a lot of stuff. Sean, I'm guessing you won't have known a lot about what these guys have been saying.
No, I've found it really interesting just here listening, to be honest. Yeah, so something that probably quite a lot of boxing fans don't take into account, to be honest. So it's really interesting to hear.
100% right. Just before we go, lads, 2 comments in the sidebar. Cedric Sports Training. Cedric's a friend of the show from Canada. He, I believe, I'm sure I'll get corrected by Carl if this isn't right. Cedric trains the Canadian amateur team over in
Cedric
over in Canada. He's given his opinion on the Usyk Fury fight, and he believes that Usyk wins by unanimous decision. And then we've got Jason Smith. Jason, thanks for joining. He says, I'm so confident Tyson Fury beats Usyk this time. It's amazing, isn't it? This is what the best of the best brings out in fight fans and in fight conversations. Split topics. It'd be a bit boring, wouldn't it, Joe, if every fight everybody was saying that the same person was going to win.
That is what is so beautiful about the sport that we love, isn't it? It's like everyone's looking at the same sort of thing, and we don't know. I don't know Jason or Cedric's background, but regardless of that, they both have different opinions. So it's like, I love it because I put a poll out yesterday on my Instagram. I put a poll out for everyone to drop me some different. I put knockout points, all of them, and just so many different ones were coming in, and so many different arguments for why he's going to win. It's just great. Like you say, if it was just a given every time, he's going to win. What we're watching for?
What's good?
But so it's great. I love it, and what a fight to have. With Saudi, we're just spoiled, aren't we, at the minute? So it's great.
Well, we were talking on we've got a WhatsApp group. The channel's got a WhatsApp group, and we were talking earlier on in the week, and I think someone made a comment about, this undercard shite, and Carl does the show with me. He's gone, you know what? 2 years ago, you'd have been saying, this card's amazing.
Should say, did it?
But all of it, you know, because of what we spoiled for the last year by
that's
Turkey.
what I was just about to say. It's like you say it's shite because of what it is, and that's probably because you look at like the next Riyadh season card. It's like these cards just seem unbeatable at the time.
Yeah, it's crazy, mate.
You look at them and you think, wow, how is that ever going to be topped? But then it's like it probably will be topped.
Yeah. They seem to do it. They seem to do it almost every fight on fight, show on show. Long may it continue, and they start bringing in some more fighters like yourself into these shows. And I know if anybody's watching this that's got any pull anywhere on Riyadh season, I know Joe Underwood will step in with anybody at any given time.
They know that too. That's the thing. I've been there. They love me, mate. I say for some reason. They know why. I know why they love me, because I'm, like you just said, I'm going to turn up and fight anyone any day. I've been offered a couple of other fights off Matchroom, off Boxer and stuff. Ultimately, it's about the right time, and obviously, I've been rebuilding. So now that I've rebuilt myself a little bit, I'm in a position to hopefully get back on one of the bigger cards, not just the open workout, get on the main card and get a big fight. And like I said to you before, beat one of them, upset the apple cart, and that's it.
Before we go,
and you're very confident in doing that as well. I can see it.
100%.
Before we go, I just want to shout my mate's fighter out because he's fighting on the undercard of Fury Usyk.
Okay.
My mate is the agent for Dylan Collin, who's fighting Sergey Lapin, who's actually managed by Usyk. So, yeah, good luck with that one. But so shout out to him. I mean, fair play to him for being, because as agent and managerial work goes, getting your fighter into a title fight for a WBA Continental and an IBF International on the undercard of probably the biggest fight of the year has got to be up there.
Yeah, shout out to him for getting his fight at that opportunity. Absolutely great. That's why us fighters put our hands in people, put our careers in their hands, because us as fighters, we're all daft. We'd fight anyone any given day, but that's why it's your job to get us these correct fights. And so shout out to them.
I phoned my fighter.
And at the right times as well, Joe.
Yeah.
I phoned Adam Heppel up, and said, we were trying to get a keep busy fight, and I phoned him up and went, "Do you want to fight Brad Ray on 2.5 weeks' notice?" And I said to his trainer, "Do you want to ask him?" He asked him. He said within 20 seconds, he was like, "Yes." He didn't ask what the money was. He didn't ask for anything. I said, "It's for Commonwealth Silver." He was like, "Perfect." So we'll have that.
Scott always says to me, "I wish." Scott always says to me, "I wish I had a stable full of fighters the same as you." Because I just say yes. He phones me, I say yes. But also Ishmael Davis, look at him. He saved the card once again. He saved the card.
I like Ishmael. I've worked with him.
Great guy.
Career matching him, and he literally, I don't think has ever knocked back an opponent I've sent.
Yeah.
To the point where I was like, I could literally, to the point I was like joking with Mark Bateson and just saying, I could literally send this guy Madronov and he would turn around and probably take it. And Lee went, yeah. So at that point, we'd probably turn it down. But you could literally send it and he'll just do it.
Right, lads. I really do hate to finish this because it's been great. It's been great topics, great conversation. Joe, thanks for joining us, mate.
Really thanks for having us on out of nowhere. Obviously, I just saw the last bell pop up. I thought I'd pop in and show you a bit of love. I saw Daz on there as well. I thought I'd give him a bit of shit because I know Daz. But it's been great. Good chat. Much appreciated.
Spoke to you.
What's that?
Considering how much I work with your manager, I've worked with your manager over the years, I'm sure this is the first time I've actually spoke to you.
I think I've recognised you from somewhere, but I don't think we have spoke.
I've match made a show that you were on, but I just for weird reason.
Yeah, I was going to say I do recognise you, and I reckon once I heard you speak and I saw your face, I was like, where do I know this guy from? Obviously, it's boxing, but
to do some matchmaking for Scott's shows back in the day, and then he started doing his own thing, which fair enough.
Pound notes, mate, innit?
If he needs it, he asks me, and I'll do it.
Yeah.
I like Scott. He's one of the nice guys in boxing.
He is, mate. He absolutely is.
First time I've had a proper conversation with you.
Yeah, I know, definitely. But yeah, Scott's a great guy. I owe him so much. But yeah, nice to meet you all. Sean as well. I know you've been
same you,
a silent man, but great to meet you, and thanks for having us on.
He'll go and take all our jobs now, Sean. Do all of it.
Well, you know what, Joe? I'd like to say to you, you can come on any time on these live. You perhaps not believe this. This is the last one we're going to be doing for a while. We've decided as a channel, we've been doing live shows for the best part of 2.5 years, maybe. Every Thursday, 7:00. we're going to try something different on the channel. We're going to stop the live show, but we're going to drop loads of smaller content out onto the channel. So there's more stuff going out for our subscribers. We'll probably come back to the live shows at some point. But this is the last one.
It's a shame. It's a shame because I mean, it's great channel. I love your channel. You do great interviews. I said it to you before at the show as well. There's a lot of like stuck up journalists in boxing now. I don't want to mention no channels names, but yeah, shout out to the Last Bell Boxing, best YouTube channel on best boxing channel on YouTube.
You do realise that that's going to get cut, and we're going to be using that as a soundbite,
mate. Mate, your intro. Welcome to the best YouTube boxing channel on YouTube, Last Bell Boxing.
Love it, Joe. Thanks very much, Joe, for joining us. Jack, thanks as always. Sean, thanks for being patient, mate, and listening to this lot babble on.
I mean,
as always, mate. I mean, you're going to be around when we do these short shows that we're gonna, or short content that we're going to be putting out in the new year.
Absolutely.
You've got me on social medias. If you need any content, anything like that, I'll always be happy to help. So don't be afraid to give me a shout.
If you want to speak with me or you want to speak to any of my fighters, it's cool. I can sort that out.
Cheers, Jack. Appreciate that. Sean, thanks as always.
Thanks,
thanks
Andy.
to everyone in the sidebar. We've had some great comments from people that we haven't had on for a while. It's been nice catching up with people. This has been Last Bell Boxing, proudly sponsored by LW Liftings and S&C Travel.
Ho, 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 ho!